Yes, the best Isaacson. Brian Coyle, one of the best cut men in the business.
And it's very, very early for a cut like that to be landing. Cutsmen are going to go to work on that straight away.
I have to say, Dave, Sean is very sharp tonight. He started very fast.
Yeah, but so relaxed when he's doing it as well. Superb. It's 1-0 to America so far. Can Sean Clancy make it 1-0?
Well, he's gotten off to a great start.
Chris Masseri. Looks like they don't want to continue. The coach of Chris Masseri having words with Daz Morris. 27 years old. Likes to have an aggressive but technical fight. So does Clancy.
They're not working the cut in any way in the corner.
It's a perfect matchup, these two. Yeah, they're working on that cut. I'm a bit worried there for a second. It looked like they were just carry on.
They were just letting it bleed for a second there.
Strange.
I mean, he's got full vision, so.
Yeah, she stopped the bleeding, but that is a big cut. That's going to open up very easily. And Sean Clancy will be targeting that area now.
Here we go. Welcome to Cuts Life with me, Cutman Brian Coyle, and
me, Cutwoman Jess.
Cutwoman Jess. Our original plan was to be with each other when we did this, but due to the fact that we live in different countries and there's a global pandemic happening, it just wasn't possible this time. So you, in the introduction there, you would have seen a little video of my glamorous assistant trading a cut for in a Muay Thai fight, Mr. Chris Masseri from the US of A. So we're going to run that in the background, and we're just going to have a little talk about it, see what's happening. So just a little bit of a background, and then it was Siam Warriors Lion fight.
59, I think, was it? Or 49? Actually, I don't know which one it was. It was one of them anyway. And it was held in Cork. So Chris flew out from New York to Cork to fight Sean Clubber Clancy, who's now on one championship, isn't he? He is, yes. It's one championship. So
this was 2019, I believe.
I think so, yeah. I'm nearly sure. Yeah. It's about 2 years ago now, yeah.
Yeah, because that around about 2018, that was where I was refusing to drive past the border. So I only worked the Northern Ireland shows, and then just fancied a little 6-hour drive to Cork, just to sit and watch Jessica do all the work. So those who have seen us in action knows that that's normally how it works. Jessica does all the work, and I'm just merely the eye candy of the group.
Oh, people are just breaking their balls laughing at home listening to you there. Eye candy.
Probably vomiting up their dinner and listening to me. But anyway,
a shave and a haircut does not make you eye candy.
Well, that's my wife. So Cork Muay Thai, this was the main event. Professional Muay Thai show where I love the pro Muay Thai. Just on a wee bit of a tangent, there's something about Muay Thai, and I just feel it has to be 5 rounds.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah, and
Muay Thai,
why is Muay Thai not as popular as it should be?
I don't know. Actually, I really don't know. I love it. But Muay Thai is my base, so I actually love Muay Thai. I do.
I think people don't, especially when you watch it in the likes of Lupini, where you're going to take me someday when we're rich and famous. They don't understand the kind of the slow build of the fight, the gradual build of the fight, and the rules, and it's almost like like music building their crescendo. You know, when you reach that round 4 or 5 is when they really go for it.
For sure. Like, I think the problem being is that, like, when you don't understand, because it's such a traditional sport, and it's still traditional, and in European countries and like non-Asian countries, we try to mimic it as much as we can to keep it as traditional. It doesn't always allow itself with some of the rules and regulations that we have in place this side of the world. However, we do try as Muay Thai practitioners to try and keep it as traditional as possible. And both Sean Clancy and Chris Massari are very good at doing that, you know, that way, at building the suspense of the fight right through from the very beginning to the very end.
Do you think us as Westerners, with our exposure to combat sports, we have the kind of mentality of finish the fight as quick as you can?
Yeah.
And it kind of takes away from the whole
build up, the love, why people train so much in Muay Thai for that 5-rounder. It's a huge thing, do you know that way? Like like, I don't ever believe that Thai fight you should go in and just want to finish it. You should want to fight. It should be like a passion, you know, that way. I know all combat sports you should want passion for it, but I think Thai is such a beautiful
elegance.
There is an elegance to it. It's like a little dance, you know, that way. A violent dance, but a dance all the same. Like.
The thing that I really love about Muay Thai, especially traditional Muay Thai and the likes of Thailand, is you don't have to know who the fighters are to enjoy the fight. You can be emotionally invested in the fight without having to go, that's my guy, he's from my country, he's whatever. You can just enjoy it for what it is. It's a great for the neutral fan of combat sports.
Yeah, I think you're right in that sense, like, because to start off, it's very hard to get to know the Thai fighters, because there are so many Thai fighters, because they learn it from birth almost up, do you know that way? And they're fighting probably every weekend nearly, or, you know, every couple of days. I mean, as young as, you know, 10, 11, 12. Some of them have hundreds of fights under their belt. So I think because it is a tradition over there, that, you know, it's took us a long time to learn that it isn't just a sport to them. It's a way of life. It's a way of living. So
we run this video, and
let's run it in.
So just bear with us a second, and we'll set it up. We'll let Jessica talk through, and as you know, she loves to talk.
Right.
So, like, it's the end of the very first round, and I think about 30 seconds before the end of the round, Chris took a really strong elbow from Sean, and literally whipped him wide open across his forehead. So it was a pretty deep cut, like a lot of blood, and I think they felt that they may call off the fight because it was so open. But you know, Chris sat there, he let me do my work, you know. Daz, the ref, came over, had a little chat with me just to see, was it okay, was I able to manage it, because it was such a bad cut. And I was like, yeah, you know, it's grand, let me do my work, you know, type of thing. And, you know, he stood and he had a watch, and he looked at me working, and he chatted to the guys, were they happy for everyone to go on with the fight, like, and everybody was happy, and he was happy with what he seen me do. So, you know, it was a case of having to use a couple of little treatments on it to get it going. So there was a bit of adrenaline at the beginning to help seal it, and then I put a bit of quick aid over it as well, after I, you know, finished with the adrenaline. And then obviously once the bleeding had stopped, I used some Vaseline inside it to help it continue to shrink and stop bleeding, and to keep the bleed away. So, I mean, you know, Chris did a really great job. He protected the cut, which meant that I could continue right through all 5 rounds, like, to keep it from getting any worse, you know.
So what we're actually seeing here, this still was taken from the end of the fight, so you'll see how well he has protected it.
Oh yeah, he did a phenomenal job protecting it. Like, I mean, you know, I can only do my job so much. Without Chris doing his job, then, you know, that could have become a million times worse. I mean, as it is, that's bad. And, you know, a lot of doctors or a lot of refs would have called the doctor in on that, or a doctor would have come in and looked at that and went, you know, called that off. But this is, you know, high stakes A-class, professional Muay Thai. These guys have a lot of fights under their belt. They've been doing this for a very long time, and they deserve to be able to get on. And it's a very nasty one to take in the very first round of a big fight like that.
Yeah.
And then to be able to protect it for the rest of the fight.
Yeah, so it actually that fight actually went the full 5 rounds.
Yeah, it did indeed, and Chris did a phenomenal job keeping it safe. Like, you know, I mean,
So-
and I mean, John would have gone for that. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah. Oh,
when it comes to-
that's a target there.
Bullseye right in the middle of the forehead. You know, that way. So I mean, you know, he did his job very well, and so did Sean. I mean, it came back at the end of every round with blood in it. So I mean, Sean did his job as much as Chris did his. You know, and I just
kind of something they actually worth noting too is his actual cornerman was a cut man as well, and he was more than happy to let you take control.
Yeah.
Anybody who's been around you kind of knows you have no choice but to let Jesse take control.
Look, it is what it is. You know, like we as cut men and women. I mean, to me, that's beautiful. That cut is beautiful. Do you know that way?
Yeah, that's cut porn right there.
It really is. Like it's what we enjoy, you know, most. You know, you have people who love leg locks in MMA, you have people who love teeping or grappling or, elbows. I mean, we love cuts, do you know that way? And as much as we don't want our fighters to get hurt, you know, when something like that happens, you know, to us, that is our job, you know. So for me, like, to get a cut like that was beautiful, you know, to work on it with Chris, like, and to keep it safe. And it shows his passion for his job as well as Sean's, because as much as Sean attacked it doing his job, Chris protected it doing his. And it did go all 5 rounds, and it didn't get hugely any worse than it was at the end of the very first round. So you know,
just on this shot here, you'll see the cotton swab on Jessica's wrist, on her wristband on her left hand with the adrenaline on it. You'll see actually on her wristband then she has her quick aid, which is something we would use a lot. But most important, what made your job really, really easy there is look how calm and still he is. He knows he's a professional. He's been here before, believe it or not, with loads of cuts.
Like, at the end of the day, we're there just to help the fighter, to keep them fighting. Like, if they don't want us to deal with it, you know, chances are a doctor is going to stop that fight.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Unfortunately, like, you know, if I can't do my job, not just me, any cut man, if we're not given, you know, the chance to do our job, and we are there for a reason, like, we are there to protect that fighter and keep that fighter fighting as much as we can. And if a fighter doesn't allow us to do that job, and it shows how professional Chris is, the fact that he just sat there, he knew he was hurt, he knew it was a bad cut, you know, his corner didn't lie to him, you know, it was bad, you know, it could have been a cut that stopped the fight, but he sat there, he let me do my work, you know. Daz, the ref, let me do my work as well. Do you know that way? Even, you know, commentary themselves, who have been doing this for years, have seen many cuts, you know, good and bad. Even they were, you know, constructively saying, oh, I think they might stop the fight. So, you know, like, I think it was a group effort from us all to get him, to keep him in that ring with Sean. Do you know that way? So, you know, it was a brilliant fight, amazing 5-rounder. And, you know, it was a beautiful cut for me to work on.
Great.
Yeah, I love it. I love when I get something like that. You know, I look back at their videos. I often rewatch, like, because I think you have to have a love for doing this, because the amount of time and effort and hours we put in to learn and what we do you know that way, and teaching other people, and maybe, you know, reinventing ourselves over and over and over again, making sure that we, you know, up our game, you know, with every show that we work on, you know, for the fighters. Because I mean, I only do it for the fighters. I mean, you know, there's no other reason for me to, other than I love it, but I also only do it for the love and for the fighters. Do you know that way? Like, I'm not gonna
so we got this cut. So stay tuned. We're going to come up with another one. This time, me doing some work. So stay tuned.
Okay.